the Fan3Cast, dishing out the hottest NASCAR news and views while celebrating the three's historic comeback. Here are your hosts, Michael Metzger and Jason Schultz.
And it is go time once again, and we're going to hope for no rain in this edition of the Fan3Cast.
With what happened in Texas with their first rain-delayed race of the season, it's pretty likely it's going to rain, but I'm optimistic that NASCAR has taken off the rain curse because the next few weeks look good as of right now.
Our fingers are crossed, but Jason, before we jump into that, I just want to do some minor housekeeping. As you fans might have been paying attention at startandparkblog.com, this year we are running a pick'em, where you pick a driver each week in each series and you gain points, and at the end of the year prizes will be given out. I just wanted to throw out there for those who haven't noticed it yet, I have revamped the standings, so if you look, see how you're doing, not only will you know how you're doing, based on the points in your ranking, you'll see how many points you scored that week, you'll see where you were last week, and of course you'll see the difference between where you were and where you are now, and you can rejoice like I was that I got to see that I was 3 positions up, or you can, actually Jason, you improved too, so you jumped 2 spots to the lead in the Cup Series.
Yeah, that's first for the entire time we've done pick'em, so I'm pretty happy for that.
It was a milestone weekend for Jason, and one other item I did want to throw out there. I've been trying to push to get 1,000 followers on Twitter. I'm at about 820-ish last count that I had. Once we get to 1,000 followers, there is a prize in it for people. It's a $25 Sunoco gas card, courtesy of the good folks at Sunoco. They sent it to me. I want to give that out to someone, so I just need about 180 more followers. So I'm going to be posting that out there. Hey, you want a Sunoco gas card? Retweet me. Once we hit 1,000 followers, I'm just going to randomly select. I wish I had some sort of scientific way to do it, but it's just going to be completely random. Pick someone, send out the gas card. Someone's going to get, in this day and age, probably quarter of a tank worth of fuel. But hey, free is free, right, Jason?
It is.
All right, now that that's out of the way, this weekend was probably Jason's favorite titled race, the Duck Commander 500. It was very disappointing that we didn't have the race, as we alluded to, on Sunday. It was delayed to Monday because of rain. But it was really cool seeing, and I'm slowly becoming a fan of it, the Duck Dynasty folks out there, including Cy in his own driver uniform.
That was rather interesting. He saw the bright orange with, actually I didn't really get to read what it said on there, but I'm pretty sure it had something to do with his favorite drink, which was like tea. It was really cool to see all those guys out on track and doing various duties. The rain really hurt some of the things the Speedway had planned, but it was just overall really neat to see them be such a big part of the race weekend.
I wonder if you have a scenario like that, if they would come back on Monday or not, just to enjoy the race if they're race fans, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only way they would. I don't think tracks really require their VFDs to wait out the ring one day and then have to come back and watch the race the next day.
So since it rained, and Mr. Matt Weaver of SB Nation, Popular Speed, wherever you can find him, was there once again, we can blame Weaver and hope that he's not going to the Darlington Raceway this weekend.
He actually is not planning on attending the race this weekend, but the forecast does something nature changes, but which with him is likely. It doesn't look like he's his curse.
I don't know. I almost think that you're going to have to do a detour on your trip down there, and we'll get more in detail on that on Jason's part, but do a little detour there, and I don't know, maybe Mr. Weaver has a flat tire or 4.
I told Alanis, who was escorting him over the weekend at Texas, to film up the car on the way to the Speedway. Obviously, she didn't do that, and it rained at the track, so we can definitely tell the curse is because of him, but maybe he doesn't come this weekend or it doesn't rain, but it's likely definitely there.
One driver that was totally fine with the race being pushed off from Sunday onto Monday was one Joey Logano. Sliced Bread picked up his 4th win of his career, first of the season, second with Team Penske, and also got himself into the chase once again, provided that we don't have more than 16 winners this year, but gets himself back-to-back chase appearances. Jason, what can we learn about Logano from this performance and even the whole year It's just amazing looking at Logano's career as a whole, just what change can do sometimes to a driver, to an organization, because that 22 car was kind of not going anywhere with A.J. Allmendinger. Then he gets booted out. Sam Hornish Jr. takes over. He does a good job, not a great job. You get Logano in there, and when he finally started getting things clicked up last year, he was running pretty good, and like you said, he's carried that over this year and is looking great.
And it was almost not looking great on the lights when the 2 laps were to go. 2 laps remained in the race, and he was coming to the white flag and the caution thing now. I think once he saw those yellow lights flick on and he saw the white flag at the same time, he must have been thinking, oh no, not there, because it was so close to ruining his day that looked like it was going to be a winning one. And anything could have happened on that last restart, but he's got to be thankful that he was able to motor back to the lead just in time to win the race.
I don't know how you feel about it, Jason, but I felt like NASCAR really pushed the envelope on how long they could go before throwing that yellow flag. Replays did show that Kurt Busch did put down a minefield of debris on the inside of the track, but that was almost agonizing that they're showing Kurt going so slow and nothing, and then all of a sudden the caution flag comes out.
Some people might think, well, maybe NASCAR just threw that caution at the end, even though there wasn't really much, but that they were, and the thing is, they really waited really long to throw it, and so there's definitely can't be a conspiracy around how that late caution, and it was just really interesting because I had fallen asleep during the race throughout, and I spoke up a few hours before this, and it was just not the most interesting of finishes, but once this final caution came out, really made for a shootout in the final 2 laps.
It's one of those that, while I'm not a Logano fan, I'm kind of happy that he did pull off the victory, because you'd really feel for him since he was going to win that race. To have something like the caution come out and him not end up winning the race. The driver who really got, well, basically screwed by that deal was his teammate Brad Keselowski. He got busted speeding on pit road, went from second place at the time of the caution all the way back to 15th. He came home. That was just the conclusion to a weird day for Brad K.
Keselowski's day definitely was a wild one, and he, as much as it doesn't really matter, because he's in the safe already with his Las Vegas win, he probably would have liked to have a top 5 finish like he was going to have, and it must have been really tough for him to have to be called out pit road for speeding, and it really hurt his day, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. He's in the chase. If he wasn't in the chase, it's a whole different story, but just because of his win, I don't think it was as significant.
One thing that did stick out is how many college basketball references we had during the course of that race.
It was Final Four weekend, so of course there would be some basketball talk, but I knew you weren't too thrilled with it, and it really got pretty excessive at the end, and it was the reference to the big game that night between the University of Connecticut and the University of Kentucky. Mike Joy, who is from Connecticut, and Darrell Waltrip, who is from Kentucky, they were both going for their teams, and back and forth a lot during the race, and it really, most fans probably picked up on it, and were really wondering why and how they kept talking about that. And it was a little bit excessive, but at the same time, for me being a basketball fan, it was a nice twist to the race broadcast.
I was just waiting for Mike Joy and Darrell Waltrip to have like a slap fight or something up inside the booth.
Maybe that would have been followed by some awkward silence, and then lots of questions would have came up on Twitter.
Yeah, then Larry McReynolds would be like, all right, I guess I'm taking over.
That would be probably the most awkward moment in NASCAR broadcasting history.
Well, you got, your team ended up winning the championship, right? Did I see that?
Yes, me and Mike Joy's team, UConn, University of Connecticut, UConn. I was really happy to see them win. I've been a fan of them for many years, and it was cool to see them raise the trophy, and then their winning team won 2 last night. So big week for that university.
Now you can, when you're down there in Darlington, if you run into Darrell Waltrip, you can kind of point out who won the championship, right? I'm sure that'll go over well.
Yeah, that'll go over well. And maybe he may refrain from hitting me, but
right. If you meet Waltrip, you want to bring up something positive, so bring up when he drove the Tabasco car. Anyways, it was good to see. We'll segue away from that. It was good to see, for me personally, that when they did come back to the race on Monday, that they didn't stick it on Fox Sports 1 or even Fox Sports 2, that they actually put it on Fox itself. Granted, they were probably just missing, the coverage of Judge Joe Brown or Judge Judy or whatever they play during the course of the day, but I feel like that was a pretty good step, because they could have shuffled it away and probably no one would have blamed them for it.
It was definitely a safe step on their part not to really make that matter more mad, because fans who definitely haven't been the happiest with the company in the last few weeks and months with the whole new channel and stuff, so definitely a good move on their part, because they didn't really want a bunch of angry fans coming after them because they put the race on a channel almost stuff to it.
Now, Jason, quick segue from that, just to get kind of your opinion on it, and I'll chime in with my opinion. Do you think the shift from Speed Channel to Fox Sports 1 has been successful so far and is growing NASCAR to audiences that might not have paid attention?
I still think we need some time to answer that fully, because we've only had it for a few months in race season, so it's hard to tell if it's been successful, because I know I still miss when the shows Steve used to have like trackside and stuff, and I'm really interested to see if there's ever any more of those, because the other sports have those shows now on Fox Sports 1, and once maybe in a year or maybe 6 months from now I can fully answer that question if they do some more other NASCAR programming, because I definitely think it's fair for the channel to do so.
I'm leaning towards it's a success right now, as it is. I kind of agree with you that probably a little bit more time needs to pass when you can see the whole picture. I think they have plenty of NASCAR programming. It got to a point with the Speed Channel, and I kind of saw this right before they switched over. I was looking through the TV guide just to see what shows were on this, and I felt like it just got so far away from the original idea behind the Speed Channel, because I remember it was showing just all sorts of auto races, it was car related shows, and then when I was flipping through it was just random reality TV shows just about honestly nothing. And I kind of compare it to the old MTV in the fact that obviously MTV started off music television showing music videos, but then they got away from that, and now I don't even know what it shows. Movies? I don't know what MTV is anymore.
Jumping into our power rankings for the week, we've got, once again, similar drivers on our list. I start with Joey Logano. He's been so strong over the last few weeks, and the one really capped everything off, so he definitely leads my standings. And Jeff Gordon, I have him placed in second, and Jimmy Johnson in third. Both drivers have been really strong over the last few weeks. Johnson didn't have the greatest performance at Texas, but he's been just consistent and being able to run up front and compete really well. So, in going to Darlington, he's definitely one to watch out for. He may not have a win, but he's definitely one of the hottest drivers in the garage right now.
I agree with you with Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, but I have another Team Penske driver in there, Brad Keselowski. What you say about Johnson is correct. He had an absolutely miserable Texas race, few breaks, and he could have been finally back in it, but his car was fast despite the damage. Jeff Gordon leads the points, so it's hard to argue why he wouldn't be in the top three, but I just had Brad Keselowski up there because I felt like he did a great job on Sunday, kind of got screwed over by that last call. Statistically speaking, he outperformed Joey Logano, even though Logano got the win. So my stat-based power rankings kept him up there, but Logano's right nipping on his tails.
We definitely know that the 100 cars will be strong going to Darlington this weekend, and the Penske cars have been hot, so their streaks definitely continue going to this weekend. With the Bojangles Southern 500, it's been a week I've been looking forward to ever since they announced the Darlington race will be moved up from May to April, and it happens to fall right on my spring break week, which is the best news I've heard in quite some time.
Now, Jason, you're going down there. Is that the first thing that you're going to go down there and see, or are you going to be down there prior to?
I'll be at the track race day. Will be the first full day I'm in the state, the best state in the world, in my opinion, South Carolina. So then I'll get a whole week after that, some sun and palm trees. So it's going to be a really fun experience. and I know a bunch of people from the Twitter world are going to the race, so it's going to be fun to interact with them, and of course see a phenomenal race which Darlington always produces that night.
Now, it is the oldest speedway on the NASCAR circuit. 110 races have happened prior to that. What's it going to be like for you, Jason, taking in that kind of historic facility? I know you've made it to the Charlotte Motor Speedway before, but I don't think it was during a race.
It wasn't, and this is definitely probably the most historic track I've been to. It's going to probably rivals that, Daytona rivals that too, but Darlington's just a whole other ballgame, and it's just going to be really, I'm going to be in awe walking to that track, seeing it, and knowing how much history has gone down here, and how big everything is, and how many guys have come to this race and won and have their careers changed or have had their careers really something major affected to them, because Darlington always is a big stamp on a driver's career if they win, able to win the race, and it's just such a hard and difficult race to compete in and for drivers to succeed in it. It's just a whole other story, and with that being going on for the last 50 plus years, it makes the track one of the most historic, and it's just going to be such a new experience to me going into the track, because I know it's going to put me speechless probably.
One last question, I'll let you off the hot seat. Where are you sitting so we can look over the TV when they do the pans of the crowd and point you out?
Of course, there's something on TV like they always do, but I'll be on the front stretch. Probably, I'm pretty sure it's between the flag stand and turn one, so you'll want to check my Twitter feed at NASCAR Jason, at Darlington Park blog too, but I'll definitely be tweeting some pictures of my view for the race.
Awesome. And do you have an Instagram account too that people might be able to follow and see the photos as well?
Yes, you can follow my personal one at NASCAR Jason, but I'll also be doing some Instagram photos for Popular Speed. Follow them on Instagram at Popular Speed, and I'll be doing some off the track photos of what the fans are doing, prior to the race. So it's going to be fun to be taking some of those pictures and sharing them. And they're definitely not the typical photos you'll see on race weekends. It'll be a nice change for some fans.
Awesome. That's going to be a great day for you, I can already tell. As long as the Weaver curse doesn't foul.
Yeah, if it rains, I'm definitely making sure we take him out of the speedway and letting NASCAR know that he shall not return to any more events this season.
And get him banned for life.
Yes.
All right, Jason, we've gone 7 for 7 with winners. 7 winners, 7 different races. People are like, oh no, they're going to go 17, they're going to go 18. You know what? There's enough teams that are competitive that you could go that way. Most likely you're not. In my opinion, though, we are going to go 8 for 8. And I'll tell you who's going to extend that streak. It's going to be our point leader, Jeff Gordon. Looking at his history at this facility, it's a kind of a long one. He's been racing there since 1993, but he's got 7 wins, 19 top 5s, 22 top 10s, average finish of just under 12th place. He's number 1 in the driver ratings put out by NASCAR. He was second last week. He finished third last year. He's leading the point standings. He is due. And as you said leading off the top of the show, the Hendrick Motorsports team has it together, especially at Darlington. I am putting my chips on Jeff Gordon this weekend.
I too believe we will go 8 for 8 with winners this season, and I'm picking Gordon's teammate, Casey Kane, to get the job done. Darlington's a great track for Kane. He hasn't been most consistent this season, but that, with the new chase system, that doesn't really prove to be as important as it has been before. So he's going to really have a great weekend, come out of really nowhere and contend for the victory. And we saw him last year. He was up front until he got to the wall late in the race. So he knows how to get it done at the track, and I definitely see him pulling out a really, really strong race day.
All right, here's my prediction for you, Jason. You're going to be in the perfect spot for this finish because it's going to be Kane and Gordon side by side going down the front stretch for the checkered flag, bumping and banging, Kurt Busch, Ricky Craven style. Does that sound good?
That would be the perfect ending to, I know it's going to be a phenomenal race.
All right. Well, Jason, you have a fun, safe trip. We'll be keeping an eye on what you're going to be doing on Saturday. Because you have that trip planned, I think your participation is in doubt for next week's podcast. But guess what, fans? You get to listen to me and me alone. So I'm sure that's going to be an interesting podcast. Probably quick.
I'll be sure to listen to once I get a chance. But before we head to the Richmond International Raceway, I know we will have a big podcast and we'll recap everything that I did at Darlington and everything that's going to be going on at that time in a few weeks.
Now, this is interesting. I'm just going to throw this out here real quick. We're going to have 3 Sundays in a row where there will be no racing action because they'll either be off or racing on Saturday. So fans are going to have a lot to do on their time, so they can listen to our podcast.
That would be great, and I'm sure we will bombard them with tweets to make sure they do so.
Exactly. So get out there, follow us, win a Sunoco gas card. You know you want to do that. Make your picks. If you want to play in the pick'em, you can win other prizes. And Jason, have fun down there in Darlington.
Thank you very much. It's going to be a blast on Saturday night.
Thanks for listening to the Fan3Cast. For more NASCAR coverage, check out StartingParkBlog.com and Turn4RacingNews.com. Follow along on Twitter at Fan3Cast, at StartingParkBlog, and at NASCARJason.